You're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, hosted by Steve Jenny and his synthetic assistant, Alex Fontini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
And welcome to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network and, of course, on our YouTube channel, live streaming simulcast. And, well, I don't know, Alex, have you recovered from Thursday?
Thursday or Friday? Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah, I've recovered.
Oh,
hopefully it won't be a slur fest this time.
That was a shit show.
Well, it was Gord's birthday.
It was. Yeah, yeah.
We were celebrating Gord's birthday and we're doing it as a stream.
But, you know, if somebody was taking us seriously, I don't think we'd go anywhere.
No.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, whatever. Here we are, regular time slot. You know what I noticed? Did you see that we're actually might get some snow?
Yeah, I saw that on Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Fucking bullshit.
Come on.
And I wanted to put up my patio furniture. I put up some of it, but I have to wait.
I think it's Doug Ford making sure everybody's locked down.
It's not snow. It's cocaine that's raining down on us on Wednesday. You saw? Well, I think was it you that posted it? The bubbles meme for Doug.
Yeah.
Was it you who posted that?
Yeah.
That was fucking hilarious.
Hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so true, though.
It is.
It's so true.
I was reading. Well, I didn't read the whole article, but I was reading the headline from. I think it was the Washington Post. Yeah. Hang on, let me see if I can find it because it was pretty interesting. Just to give you an idea, it was one of the U.S. Newspapers. They were suggesting that our dear illustrious premier should step down.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, it's, you know, in the beginning, you like to give him benefit of the doubt because let's face it, nobody's ever been through something like this before.
Right.
So, I mean, no matter how much you hate a politician or whatever, I mean, these guys, you know, their hands are tied when it comes to a lot of this stuff that has to be dealt with something on this magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, in the beginning, I thought he was handling it rather well. I thought he was doing a pretty good job.
He was doing a really good job at the beginning, but I don't know what happened along the way. He just seemed to either forget or I don't know, maybe he had a brain fart.
But at the same time, though, we got to remember it's not just him making these decisions.
No,
I mean, he's the end all be all, and listening to all these people that he has around him. But
this latest lockdown, though, I mean, there's even some scientists that have gone on to say that not being able to go out to parks doesn't make any sense, right? So some of the measures that he's implemented in this latest lockdown, some of which he's retracted since, but didn't make any sense. Like, why can't we go to a park?
Well, I can understand the vision of people in droves going to these small little parks, and what we've got a small little park just down the road here. And I don't know how many times I've gone there, and it's been packed, and there's no distancing whatsoever.
Yeah.
And just because it's outside doesn't mean you can't get sick.
No, you're right. You can still get sick. It is a bit harder, but you still can get sick. And they've said all along, the doctors have said all along that if you're going to go to a park or anywhere outside, and if you cannot social distance, you have to wear a mask. The problem is that this whole wave here, I think, is a combination of multiple things. Number one, the variants, which are much more infectious than the original strain. Yep. Mm-hmm. Two is people's lax attitude.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to social distancing or wearing a mask. And three is how the province handled this whole scenario. So it's not just one thing that went wrong. It was almost like a domino effect, right?
Well, I mean, it didn't make sense to me that you shut down everything, and then all of a sudden you start opening regions. Yeah. It was stupid. Keep everything shut down and open everything up at the same time.
Yeah.
You know? Don't and you saw what happened. Like out here, again, everything was closed all around us.
Yeah.
And we were still open.
I know.
Because we were still open, people were coming in droves here.
Oh, I know.
Come on.
I know. And that's part of the problem. This is part of the issue, right? Because a lot of people from Toronto, for example, were heading out to the regions outside of Toronto that were not as restrictive. Mm-hmm. And that was causing problems there. But I mean, whatever. It is what it is. Hopefully we can get through this and be done with it once and for all.
Well, yeah. I mean, for crying out, I'm just still waiting on when I can get the first dose.
Same here. My region opened up 50 plus. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Obviously, I got to wait for 45 plus, but hopefully that will come soon.
Yeah, like I said, I'm probably gonna have to wait maybe a couple more weeks. I'm looking at because right now they got 50 plus, but essential.
Okay.
So I am essential, but I'm not first tier. I'm considered, I guess, what, second or third tier. I think third tier. So I got a feeling it's probably going to happen within the next couple weeks, anyways.
Yeah.
Now I've thought long and hard about doing this, and I don't like vaccines. I've never really bothered with vaccines. I mean, I've had vaccines in the past, but I've never really agreed with them. But I mean, I'm not just thinking about me here.
Well, that's just it, right? It's not just about ourselves.
And at the same time, I think of other stuff that can happen too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you can still get sick.
Yes.
But all this is really is just a buffer. It's just to help you.
Well, what it's designed to do once it takes in full effect is that, let's say for the sake of the argument, you are an individual that if had you gotten COVID, you would have been hospitalized. Mm-hmm. What this immunization does is it doesn't prevent you from getting it, but what it does is allows your immune system to attack it quicker so that you don't get to the stage where you need to be hospitalized. So you'll get over it a lot quicker and a lot better without any severe ill effects.
So in other words, we're becoming GMO.
Yeah. Well, we've been GMO for a long time.
But it's too bad it wasn't one and done. I mean, you got the Johnson and Johnson one. That's one. But now they're talking about, with Pfizer anyways, they're saying, possibly 12 months, you might need a booster.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is going to become like the flu shot. Most definitely this is going to become like the flu shot. It's going to become a yearly thing. But the important thing now is to get the numbers under control so that in the future, it's going to be like the flu, like the seasonal flu, where it's not going to be as widespread, because a lot of people would be immunized and it won't have that sort of pathway to get to a lot of people. And that's the goal, really, is to get to that level, right?
Yeah, well, let's face it. I mean, we could basically say this is the new flu.
It is, yeah.
This is the new seasonal thing, I think.
Exactly.
And, obviously it's taken us the better part of almost, a year and a half to figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And once we figure, and it's really weird how, that this is basically the norm now. This is something that is introduced now that was never really a factor. I mean, we've had novel viruses in the past, but nothing like this.
Well, I mean, the flu is kind of like a novel virus, right? Or a SARS virus.
SARS is a novel virus. But still not to the magnitude of this.
No, this is so easily spread, and this is why there was such a concern when it first came to light, because of the efficacy of the virus and how it spread, and then even more so with the variants. And that was the whole thing about all the lockdowns initially, is to try to curb that widespread. Because at the end of the day, and what a lot of people fail to realize is that there's only so many hospitals out there that can house patients that need ventilation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's what some people think. Like, I've seen videos of people going into hospitals, and this is in the States. They go into the emergency and they're like, look, it's all empty, but this is not where they're located. There's a whole wing where they're set up for, people who need to be on ventilation. They're not going to be in the emergency room. And this is what really irritates me about people. They go on and they go on YouTube and they put these videos up spreading misinformation. They're not educated enough. I don't even think they can add 2 and 2 together. And yet they want to go on saying, oh, look at this. It's like, you know what? Just go away. I mean, this virus, really, should have eradicated 2/3 of the population, in my opinion.
Say that again?
I said this virus should have eradicated 2/3 of the population.
Well, what are we at now? 140 million now?
Fortunately, it
With,
doesn't. It's not
how
a
many
selective. It's not selective.
how many deaths now?
I don't know how many deaths. I haven't
worldwide?
checked. I can check. Hold on.
Quite a lot, I know that.
Worldwide, yeah.
7 million, something like that. Something, I don't know. I think it's 7 million or something.
Let's see.
But it's sad, really, that people seem to think that things are normal.
3.01 million complete deaths in the entire world.
Yeah, so I was a little overestimating there. Insane, man. Yeah, and of course here where we're located, things are getting a little out of hand.
Yeah.
With the numbers. You look at some regions that were hot spots before, and like where was it now? I can't even think about it, but our numbers just in Ontario alone surpass the numbers that they're getting daily now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's scary because we don't have a huge population here.
In Canada or in Ontario?
No, in Ontario.
Well, I mean, we're the most populated province in the country.
Yeah, but that's not much. I mean, what is it, 12 million?
Yeah, not when you factor in the population of the U.S. as 300 million plus.
And you figure 80% of those numbers are in just a couple
Southern
of
Ontario, yeah. Southern Ontario.
Yeah. Well, of course, that's where most of the population is.
Yeah.
But that says a lot.
I know it does.
And the inability to deal with this or react the way we've reacted, it's been absolutely ridiculous.
It has from multiple levels. But I mean, I also put the blame, not entirely, mind you, but I do put the blame also on some people who just have laxed on their they become careless, put it this way.
You know what? I'm telling you, on a daily basis now, after a year, and I know this isn't really a word, but it's the word I like to use because it to me best explains stupidness.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand how people are so fucking stupid still.
Yeah.
I mean, what does it take? It takes you to get sick and hospitalized and whatever else, and somebody close to you dying to understand that this is fucking real.
Funny you should bring that up because a coworker of my wife's was for the longest time dead set against getting the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was one of those borderline anti-vaxxers, right?
Yeah.
And then a good buddy of his contracted the virus, and he was we met up with him today because he had to give my wife some stuff from work, and he goes, his buddy has been bedridden for 2 weeks. He didn't need to go to the hospital, but his buddy was telling him, I've never experienced something like this before. It feels like I'm completely out of energy. I can't move. When I go to the bathroom, it takes me like 5 minutes to get to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Just to go and take a leak. And
you hear that all the time.
Yeah.
You hear, not all the time, but
yeah.
Several times that I've heard people who've had COVID.
Yeah.
Some people, obviously it hasn't been, too bad. Just, maybe a little fever here. That
like my nephew. My nephew got
24 hours.
Yeah.
Sorry?
My nephew got it.
Yeah.
And he was fine. He goes, well, fine. I mean, he was, obviously he had the chills and he had the fever, but he goes, he's had flus that were worse than that. But
yeah,
everybody's different. So like this buddy of my wife's coworker, obviously he wasn't ill enough that he needed to go to the hospital, but he felt completely utterly drained. Like, when you just can't, like, he couldn't even talk at times. That's how bad it was. And since this happened, Now he's gonna go get he's gonna go get vaccinated. But I mean, why does it have to take that extreme for you to realize this is not something that should be taken lightly?
No,
You know?
no. I mean, even the flu at times should not be taken lightly because I mean, look at the flu. Look at somebody that we knew passed away.
Yeah.
Of the flu at the age of 47, I think it was.
Yeah, he wasn't very old.
No, and this guy was fit as a fiddle.
Yep.
And gone.
Yeah, just like that.
And that, there's maybe speculation that he might have had COVID, but it was too early to tell when he had it.
Yep.
The possibility was there because I like to think that maybe he did because of how severe this was.
Yeah.
And they didn't, when he had this, they didn't understand what COVID was other than there's this novel virus coming, making its way around. You never know.
Yep.
There are probably people that had it earlier on that had no clue that they had it. When we come back, if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at Dark Discussions. Facebook, type in Nocturnal Frequency Radio. And, of course, Instagram, Nocturnal Frequency Radio as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Ron, you might want to listen to the radio portion because we're going to play one of your tunes, by the way. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You hear that? Guys, over here. Again, that wailing noise. Look, what's that?
What's that? What's that? There was something fucking moving over there. You see that? You saw that, right? It was white. It's not white. It was fucking white.
Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
And welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network. And of course,
YouTube.
Streaming live on YouTube.
So this one goes out. This one goes out to Ron. Hold on a sec.
So what's new?
Nothing.
What's new and exciting, Alex?
Nothing.
Well, what's new?
Well, nothing.
What have you been up to?
Not much.
What's new?
Nothing.
What have you been up to?
Nothing.
You know, it's funny because before you played that, I was going to go, Alex, what's new?
I beat you to it.
No, Alex, what's new?
Nothing.
Oh.
There we go. We got it out of the way.
It doesn't work as good when you're expecting it.
I
So.
know. That's why you gotta catch me off guard.
Well, yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So, what's new?
Nothing.
Oh man.
So we're gonna talk about the darkness that lies within each of us.
Yeah, sure. Depending on what you're talking about when it comes to darkness.
Well, depends on what I ate, and there's a
that's
lot of darkness brewing.
That goes without saying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
But I'm pretty sure you're of the same mindset as I am when it comes to this. That there you go. There's the darkness arising.
Yeah.
But you're the same mindset that everybody is capable of having a dark side.
I honestly believe that, when, we were talking on Friday about demons.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe that demons realistically are probably human.
Yeah.
What we're capable of and what we've been capable of in the past of doing is just horrendous. You look at you look at serial killers, mass murderers. You look at these leaders of these countries that slaughter. And you tell me that's not fucking evil?
Yeah.
Pure evil. I mean, what goes through one's mind to be able to do that kind of shit?
I know. It's I don't know. It's not really explainable if you think about it.
What were you gonna say? It's not acceptable.
Well, that too. But I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. You can't really explain what goes through someone's mind, or whether it's something that's inherently wrong with the wiring of their brain, or if it's something that's external, or if it's something completely different that we're not even aware of.
There's I always refer people to watch TikTok as see the epitome of the human race. But there's this one thing trending on TikTok that I can't. It's creepy, man. And basically, it's not necessary. I don't think it's real, but if it is, I don't know. And they're in. It looks like an old. It's made to look like it's from the early '80s, the '80s anywhere on videotape, and you go and they're like interviewing somebody. This guy's interviewing him, and if the interviewer asks the person, what would you do if you were let out of here, like being prison? And he goes, kill someone, like bluntly.
Damn.
And I go, and they're like, well, I don't think they're ever going to let you out of here. And the guy goes, well, yeah, I hope they never let me out of here.
Well, at least he's honest.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's eerie to the point because I've seen two different people. It's not always the same person that they're interviewing. So I think it might be some sort of app or something, or some sort of filter that you can do it with. I don't know. It's weird. I gotta find it. It's on TikTok, and I watched it, and it is cold, man. It's just fucking cold.
Yeah.
But when you think of evil, that's what I think of, man. I can't think of anything else. I don't think of demons.
No, and Ron asked the question. He goes, is evil only in the action performed, or is it also in the genesis of the idea of the action?
I think it's in both.
It is. And I think
it has to be.
It is. I mean, darkness is in each and every one of us. I firmly believe that. But what you do with that differentiates between someone who is truly evil and someone who just has evil thoughts. I mean, everybody does. You can't tell me that if someone pisses you off, if you're in an argument with someone, or someone just cuts you off when you're driving and you're already frustrated because you had a bad day, that you're not thinking something that you shouldn't or you wouldn't normally think of if you're having a decent day.
You blurt it out all the time.
Exactly.
I'm gonna fucking kill that guy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna shoot that.
of
You
course.
know, shit like that.
Everybody has a darkness within them or the capacity to be evil. The difference is in whether you act upon that or not that truly defines whether an individual is evil or human.
Yeah. You know, it's I always again sort of harken back to the early days of the internet. And you know, it was basically the Wild West. But obviously it wasn't as, you know, glamorous as the net is now, you know, with video and streaming and all shit. Everything was so, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here?
You?
Generic.
Oh, generic.
Not generic, but God, I can't even think of the word. But anyways, you know, when you're let loose on the net for the very first time, and you could literally search for anything you wanted to, and you could literally almost find anything, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, now it's a little different. You have all these filters. These countries are filtering the net, and you know a lot of it has been sort of erased from. I remember there was this website called manbeef.com, and literally, it was a website that was selling human beef.
Okay.
I'm not kidding you, man. Okay, I don't know if it was real or not, but when you looked at this fucking website and you looked, holy shit, this is fucked up. If this is real, like, grant you, there are cannibals out there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you hear about it all the time.
Yeah.
That people do these, like, oh man, there's so many freaking stories. But, you know, I remember even you know, thinking back to Microsoft had this really cool chat room thing where you could be like a cartoon character. I forget what it was called, the name of it, but it was like the characters that you were. It was creepy as shit, man. Like, creepy. I mean, it was neat, but it was creepy, man. You're like, this is fucking weird. You know, you don't even know who you're talking when you're in this room, let alone they're behind this cartoon character. You're like, this is fucking insane.
It is, for sure.
You know?
I think I finally got the audio synced up.
Okay. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I hope it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I was checking it on my phone and we were out of sync. So I was just messing around with the settings to try to get it synced up. So I think it's fairly synced up now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
but yeah, no, you're right. It's a lot of that stuff is creepy. I mean, you don't know who you're talking to when you have like avatars like that. You know what I mean? But I mean, okay. So you're familiar with the dark web. Everybody's familiar with.
Oh, well, that's basically what the web was.
Yeah, except
That's
now
all it is.
It's been all that stuff that used to be on the regular web is now relegated to the dark web.
To the dark web.
And then what we're surfacing, what we're basically surfing now is the tip of the iceberg, essentially. All the cleansed stuff.
This is cleansed.
Yeah.
Almost regulated. Well, it's regulated in certain countries.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even go on to something like, let's face it. Nowadays, most people go to Facebook, YouTube, and you know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they very rarely go to websites. You know, I mean, people do still go to websites. Don't get me wrong, they certainly don't go to them like they did before.
No, because before it was a novelty. So people did it because it was all new. You wanted to explore. Now you go to websites. The only reason why you go to website, aside from the ones you mentioned, like Facebook and YouTube, is if you need to get something specific.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if I need to buy something that I know is only in a specific website, that's when I'll go there and I'll buy it.
Yep.
Other than that, then what? I don't know what the point of going there. Plus, I mean, all of these like merchant websites like Amazon, Best Buy, you name it, all have sort of like email blasts that they send you when you create an account for any special deals. So you don't really have to go to the site to find any deals unless you need to buy something specific, and that's when you go and take a look to see what kind of, you know, pricing they have, and you might do price match with another site or whatever. I don't go to Best Buy on a daily basis. I don't go to Amazon on a daily basis. You know, there's no need, right?
No.
So the novelty of the web has worn off years ago because it's no longer new. We've been there, done that sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's certainly not like it used to be. I used to love
The message
used to love
boards.
it. Huh?
The message boards.
The message boards, the
Yeah.
chat rooms,
Yeah.
you know, the interaction. It was great. You know, I ran a webzine for 10 years.
Yep.
And one of the best parts of that was the message board, and like communicating with contributing writers from around the world, and bringing people in from the film world, like not the regular film world, but the cult cinema film world, into this one place, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And being exposed to all these wonderful films that most people would go, I've never heard of that. It was awesome. Uh, I tried my best to even reconnect with that, and it's just so hard, man. It's just really hard.
It's not the same, only because you don't have the same sort of enthusiasm from other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, because even though you may still enjoy something like that, if it's only going to be you doing it by yourself, then what's the point, really?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. We're going to take a short break here, buddy.
Yep. Sounds good.
When we come back, we're going to continue on with this and more. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here, live on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course, our YouTube channel. However you're catching us, thank you for the support. We really appreciate it. And we'll be right back.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex. You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
And welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course, simulcasting live on our YouTube channel. Yeah, as we were discussing before this break, that the evil, the darkness, whatever. And I mean, let's face it. I mean, they walk hand in hand. Darkness, evil,
Mm-hmm.
right? Light, good, good, light. Sort of. We all felt safe in the light when there's light.
Yep.
But why do you think? I mean, I've known people throughout my life that there you would never think there was an inch of darkness in them, evil, whatever.
I've come across people like that as well.
And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden something switches and they become this whole different person.
Yeah. Reality is that we don't know what's going on in their heads, right? So,
Well, obviously.
for the most part, it's a facade, right? Like, outwardly, myself, I generally tend to be an easygoing guy, right? Well, you know me, you've known me longer, but if some people who don't know me,
Yeah.
just meet me, I'm a pretty easygoing guy. However, no one knows what goes through my mind, throughout the day.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's other factors involved as well. Like there's people who suffer from chronic depression or clinical depression or any of the mental illnesses that are out there. And
Any of the above?
any of the above, yeah. So it's one of those things like it's what you see generally isn't a good indication of what the person really is unless you get to know them really well. And that's the unfortunate part, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's like I said earlier, everybody has the capacity to be evil.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has evil thoughts at some point. I guess the question is how first of all you have to be able to accept that as an individual that's reality. Everybody has that. And once you accept it, then you could learn to sort of mitigate any sort of imbalance, if you will. Like if you find yourself feeling more angry all the time or having darker thoughts all the time, if you don't at first accept something, you can't fix it. It's almost like an alcoholic or even someone who abuses drugs. If they don't know that they have a problem, if they're not willing to admit to themselves that they have a problem, they're not going to be able to fight it.
Do you have a problem?
I have a very big problem. Yeah. But it's one of those scenarios.
No, seriously. Did you find that, throughout your life that there was something that you were finding that you're doing that you're like, oh, fuck, this is out of hand and I need to do something to sort of, better myself or
of course,
whatever. I don't know.
My depression.
Well, I went through that.
Yeah.
I had a really, really dark period.
Yep.
Of depression and anxiety and shit. And it came down to medication. And I think that's when I said to myself, okay, I can't allow the medication to do the work. I can't. I can't.
If you're capable of mitigating it yourself or dealing with it yourself, that would be the ideal scenario. And obviously,
I've been lucky enough. Lucky enough to make it out, man. I did so much searching on what I can do to break the chains, if you will.
Yep.
Say, look at, because I remember being on medication, and I remember, when the medication started kicking in, it kicked in, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. My head is clear, but I don't like the fact that something's controlling me. Something is doing the work for me. I mean, yeah, it's good that I'm feeling good, but it's not natural to me. I don't like not being in control. I do not like things that don't seem natural to me.
I'm the same way. I mean, it's at the end of the day, I completely agree with you wholeheartedly. If you're capable of doing it on your own without the assistance of medication, I say do it because, unless you're in a scenario where I think it's chronic depression, that's something that unfortunately is something you have to be medicated for. But and I could be wrong, but the point is that there are scenarios, unfortunately, where people have no choice or recourse but to take medication, and you know, it sucks. But if it betters their life, then so be it. But in a scenario like yourself and myself, it's up to us to be able to try to get ourselves out of it. And for the most part, I can do it most of the times. It's just there are times, and I'm sure you're aware of this, there are times when it gets the better of you, especially now with all everything that's going on around, right?
You know what? I have not had, I have not been anywhere close to what I was when I was in that dark period. You know, I couldn't even tell you the last time I've had a panic attack. I couldn't even tell you the last time I was overwhelmed with anxiety.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I mean, there are points when I feel, um, you know, a little down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's natural, but I mean, I've never like I remember my head. I remember before, like we'll go before the medication. I remember my thoughts were constantly on my mortality. How am I going to die? When am I going to die? You know, and you know, and that would just drone and drone and drone and drone and drone and drone, and like I think about this, I think about that. Oh my God, and it just keep piling up. And you know, I go to bed, wake up the next morning. For the first half an hour, my head was okay. My thinking was okay. And then all of a sudden, the clouds started to pour in.
Yeah.
And then when the clouds poured in, that's when the shit would just start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
It was day in and day out. There was not a day where I could say was a good day, because there wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was constantly cloudy, constantly. My thinking was fogged constantly. And like I said, when I you know went to deal with it, and I had, you know, was given medication, and the medication kicked in, and that first day, you know, when it kicked in, I woke up, I felt so good, and I'm like, wow, I have not felt this positive in God knows how long.
Yeah.
And then I started to say, okay, well, the medication's kicked in, let me give it a trial run. And I remember I said, okay, I'm going to think of something that would normally just blow it all up. I started to think of normally of what would blow it up, and it was like a fire being put out in a second.
Hmm.
I'm like, wow, this shit really does work.
Yeah.
So, you know, I started to think to myself, okay, that's cool, but that is scary.
Yeah.
At the same time, I like the fact that I'm positive, I'm happy, yeah, but I'm not naturally positive, and I'm not naturally um, happy.
There's also the
You know,
fact to be said that, you know, if something like that, a known trigger, is put out that fast, because there are times in scenarios where you need to be able to feel empathy for someone, and this medication probably wouldn't allow you to do that.
No, exactly. I mean, there's so many things, so many factors. You know, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons, like anything.
Yep.
You know, you started to put on weight.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think I put on 30 pounds. I was like 208 pounds. The most I ever fucking weighed in my life was 172.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? You know why? Because you know, I said, look it. Okay, so I started studying what causes depression. I started studying, researching serotonin production, how it relates to your thoughts, and how it causes, you know, the lack of serotonin to the brain causes this. And I narrowed it down to serotonin, because let me tell you, serotonin is the main culprit, right? If your body is not producing enough serotonin for the brain, you're fucked. And this is what causes massive depression and anxiety and panic and everything else.
So what
Right?
did you do to remedy the issue?
I started looking at stuff that I can naturally produce serotonin. Okay, I quit smoking. I quit drinking coffee because caffeine is a major culprit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I quit. My diet changed. I did a whole bunch of different shit. I just changed everything. I introduced Japanese green tea, sencha. Dude, I was fucking ordering it from Japan.
Yeah.
And this shit was not cheap. But
I
you know
can't
what?
imagine.
The fucking shit worked.
Hmm.
Not only did it help me, it relaxed me. It helped me fucking lose weight.
Hmm.
You know, I lost 30 pounds in like God knows how long. It didn't take me long. But like I said, I changed my attitude. I think that's why I act a little crazy here and there. I'm notoriously acting crazy, but you know what? It's not that I'm crazy. I just do it for reaction. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you do it
It's
for a reaction.
yeah. You know, I started putting my head into stuff that I love doing. The paranormal, for instance. I dove into the paranormal. I started into editing, huge, like making documentaries and shit like that. I started heavily getting, and then I started working with Steven, with Renegade. Things were fuck. I it was great, and I thought for sure with this COVID, when COVID started, shit was gonna go all to hell with me with this, but no, not at all.
That's good.
I look at it and saying, look at I got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. You can't just lie down and let it run you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. The minute you sit down and say, I give up, that's the problem, man. I mean, you can't sit there and go, I give up, right? I give up. Okay, you want to take a break?
Sure.
Isn't that what you said? Break time?
I didn't say that, but yeah, if you want to take a break.
that just came up on the screen. I don't know.
Where did it come up?
It came up on Skype.
No, I
Break
think
time.
No, that's yours.
Is that mine?
Yeah.
How come it just came up now?
I don't know, because Skype is fucked.
Do we want to play another one of Ron's tunes?
We can, but we can wait a little bit longer. We just went on
Yeah.
break not too long ago.
Yeah, I know.
We wait another 10 minutes.
Wait another 10 minutes, sure. Let me load it up here. But yeah, like I said, and okay, so you've been able to sort of control it.
Yeah, for the most part, I've been able to control it, because even back in the day, like, I mean, I started suffering from depression from a young age, in my teenage years. And my doctor prescribed me Prozac as a trial. He didn't really want me to be on it because I was so young, and he didn't want me to be on it unless I absolutely needed to. So he goes to me, I'm going to prescribe you a month's worth, and I want to see you again, and I want to see how things are, right?
Yeah.
So I did, and I took Prozac for a month. It didn't make any difference for me.
Really?
No, it didn't make any difference for me.
And Prozac's a pretty fucked up drug, man.
I know, and it's pretty addictive too, which is
Yeah.
and I knew that, right? So I went back to see him at the end of the month, and I told him, I go, listen, doc, I don't want to be on this drug. I'm going to just try to deal with it on my own. Right. And I did. And, for the most part, I mean, I got to a point where I was getting severe headaches during the day. And this is before, so these headaches started before I went to this one family doctor who prescribed Prozac. So it all began a few years before that. I guess when I was maybe 15, 16, or even 17, around that time frame, where every time after lunch period and in high school, I would get this massive headache where I had to just sort of put my head down. It wasn't necessarily a migraine because it wasn't like that pounding, but it was severe enough that I had to kind of just drop what I was doing and sort of relax for a bit. And my last period teacher would always comment, because I would get these headaches third period, and fourth period teacher would always comment saying, why are you always coming into my class looking like you're pale as a ghost?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told him what was going on, and he goes, you need to go see a doctor. So I went to go see my original family doctor first, not the one who prescribed the Prozac, but one before that. And I ended up switching, and he sent me to the hospital immediately to see, and he ordered a CAT scan. Basically, he wanted to see if there's anything wrong. And it came back negative. But that doctor was an idiot. He didn't run any tests beyond that. He just sent me to the hospital. When it came back negative, he was like, okay, great, you're good. Here, see you later. But I was still getting these headaches. So I switched family doctors, and this new doctor, he ran a battery of tests first. I explained to him what happened. I explained to him that I had to go to the hospital for a CAT scan because of my old doctor. And I go, send me again just in case they missed something. He goes, okay, before I do that, I want to run a battery of tests. And he ran, blood test, urine test. He sent me to the eye doctor. He did everything. Everything came back negative. And he finally sent me to a neurologist. And the neurologist is the one who basically said, you have stress.
Really?
Yeah. I go, because he checked the dilation of my pupils. He checked my throat. He checked my ears, checked my reflexes. He did everything. And he goes, yeah, you have stress. He goes to me, what do you enjoy doing? And I told him, I enjoy writing, reading, listening to music. And he goes, just do more of it. Stop thinking so much and just do more of that. Right?
And that's the thing, because when you're in that state of mind, you fucking drone on those thoughts.
Yeah.
And those thoughts become overwhelming because you think the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and it was something that simple. That got rid of the headaches, but not the depression part.
No.
Right. So the depression part, I guess, stemmed from a bunch of things. It stemmed from the fact that, when we emigrated to this country, when I was 8, I wasn't told we were emigrating to this country. I was told we were only going to come here for the summer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we moved. We came to Canada. It was summer of '82. I was told we were only going to be here for the summer. So I never got a chance to say goodbye to any of my friends, right? Because I thought I was coming back. And at the end of the summer is when I found out, we're not going back. I'm like, okay. So now I had to go to school in a country I had zero ability to speak the language, right? And my parents fought hard to get me into this one school that was out of the district for me, because it was another Italian kid that was in the same grade that knew how to speak English, and he would help me out. But then he ended up leaving halfway through the year. His family ended up moving back to Italy. So I was like, fuck. So for the rest of the time, I was on my own. So I was in the school. I didn't know how to speak the language. I was constantly bullied because back then, it's not like it is today. Not only by the students, but by the teachers as well. So there was a series of things that happened that, that I believe contributed to that depression, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, fast forward now to the scenario with the Prozac, and I said, I just want to deal with it myself. And for the most part, I was able to, just by sort of doing things that I enjoy doing. Yeah. Taking the advice of the neurologist who, helped me overcome my headaches. And, it worked. But then, the older you get, and you know this, Steve, as well, the older they get, the more you do think about your mortality. Right? Yeah. That's inevitable. Right? Yeah. So that's another factor. Mm-hmm. So it's just a whole, that kind of stuff. And, but, and I think a lot of people, and this kind of ties into the theme of the show, where there's the darkness in all of us, because some people don't know how to deal with it. No. And when they don't know how to deal with it, it manifests itself in ways that for the general population, it wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Just Absolutely. Because They're like, okay, they're constantly depressed, or they're constantly, feeling anxiety or whatever. And if they don't know how to deal with it, then it can manifest in either murder, rape, whatever, in any one of these scenarios. And that's the unfortunate part. And this is excluding people who have, known mental illnesses. I'm talking about just the general public, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, let's take a break.
All right, sounds good. We'll play one more of his Ron's songs. Oh, I'm gonna unfortunately be playing the same.
Ron's.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing the same one on YouTube because I'm waiting for Ron to send me some more.
All right, hold tight. We'll be right back. You're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network and our YouTube channel.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
like a scream.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
And welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network and, of course, our YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in tonight.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, please like and subscribe the show. Look, I'm going to do that right now because how many people? Nobody's liked or subscribed. Come on.
We got 2 likes.
Well, one of them's me. Yeah, one of them's me.
What's wrong with your mic?
Nothing's wrong with my mic.
Yeah, you're kind of... Oh, it's because you're leaning forward. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Am I okay?
Yep. No, you were leaning forward before. That's why.
Oh, okay. So, anyways, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, when you said Prozac, I literally told my doctor I will never go on Prozac.
Mm.
I said, fuck that. I ain't going to do that. Oh, no, I'm not going to put you on. I'm going to put you on this new one. And at the time, it was a new one. It was Paxil.
Okay.
Right? And originally, like a lot of them, it was made for people who had heart disease. And they found it wasn't really working with heart disease, but it was working with people who had depression and all sorts of stuff, right? And like, okay, whatever. And he's like, oh, just going to start you off on a small dosage. You don't need to be ramped up or anything. Your depression's not too bad. No. Meanwhile, I'm like, when am I going to die? How am I going to die? Like all these thoughts are just drowning in my brain. It's not that bad. No, it's not that bad. You're not dealing with it. I don't know how many times I had to get Lenore to drive me to the fucking hospital.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was one time, and one time I thought I was having a fucking heart attack. The very first time I had a panic attack, like everybody knows, it feels like a heart attack.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know. All I know is I think I'm having a heart attack. Call 911. And here it is in the middle of the winter, and I got nothing but shorts on because I was sleeping because I was on nights. And I woke up, I was fucked up. And I go, oh my God, I feel like, okay, this is the end. It's over. That's what it felt like. And I go outside in the middle of winter with bare feet in the snow to get fresh air.
Sure.
But it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. And I said, look, just call the ambulance off. We don't need it. Just take me into the hospital and we'll go from there. And they said that. They said, when I got in there, you had a panic attack. When they did the tests that they needed to do, and they noticed that, yeah, you probably had a panic attack. But I mean, when it first happens, you don't know. You think it's a heart attack, and then later on, the next time you kind of gotta know, okay, it's a panic attack. Let's weather the storm.
Yeah.
But then I started to learn how to sort of control the storm, and I'd have a panic attack, and it would last because I kept thinking to myself, this isn't going to kill me. I'm not going to die. I just need to relax.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, I have not had a panic attack in years. There anxiety is there, but it's not nearly like I know it. I'm familiar with it, and therefore it doesn't bother me the way it did, back then.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I learned to control it, but I understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what people need to do is to understand why you're having anxiety, what's causing the anxiety. And of course, most people will go to a psychiatrist to figure that out. And I'll tell you right now, sometimes when you go to a psychiatrist, it's fuck that. I'm going to give you something. All they're worried about is fucking giving you something.
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
What?
So that's what it seems like.
Well, yeah, and I said to myself when I went, I went to go see a psychiatrist. I didn't want to go see a psychiatrist. So fuck that. Now I'll go see one. All right, see one, and I walk into the guy's office, and it's typical psychiatrist. You sit down, spurt out your fucking life story, and in my head I'm going, I don't know why I'm bothering, because by the end of this fucking session, he's going to tell me he's going to put me on Prozac.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly.
Yep.
I was thinking that. And of course, he didn't say Prozac, he said Paxil, but still, same thing.
Just want to say hi to Gareth. He just joined the stream.
Hey, Gareth, how are you?
And then Ron has a question as well. He goes, are you guys afraid of death? If not, at what point did you lose your fear?
I don't think I'm afraid of death. And I say that now. I'm not afraid of death the way I was afraid of death.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all have a fear of it, obviously, to a certain extent. But I mean, I think what you have to know is, death is out of your control.
Yep.
When your time comes, it's going to happen whether you like it or not. So you can't control it. And I think that's the main thing with depression and anxiety and panic attacks and all that kind of shit, is learning that you can't control everything. Right? Because people have a tendency to want to try to control everything. And there's the the fact of people who have thin skin and there are people who have thick skin. You know, thick skin, nothing bothers you. Thin skin, everything bothers you. I mean, you could be at a restaurant and listening to a conversation at another table and it's bothering you
Mhm.
because they're talking about some stupid shit and it bothers you. And you go, fuck you, you suck. No, no. But I mean, a person with thick skin, it wouldn't even phase them. They wouldn't care. But it's the people that have the thin skin that everything bothers them. It builds up anxiety, panic, you know?
Yep. I know what you're saying. And from my part, it's not so much a fear of dying because, as Steve mentioned, it's inevitable, really, at the end of the day. It's more, for me, it's more of a fear of the unknown. Part of the reason why I got involved in the paranormal is for my own sake to figure out, is there a continuation? I mean, I know there are people out there who wholeheartedly believe that, and that's great for them. For me, it's not that simple. So for me, wanting to figure out if there actually is some kind of continuation, if I knew for a fact that there was, I wouldn't be so worried about the death part, because then I know what to expect in a way. For me, it's not the fear of dying; it's the fear of what happens after you die. You know what I mean? Does anything happen? Do you,
Yeah.
do you just cease to exist? And that's that. And if that's the case, you won't know any different, because if that's the case, you're dead, you're done.
You're dead, you're dead.
Right?
And that's what I mean. That's the whole thing when I was saying, trying to control that. You can't control that. I mean, everybody on this earth goes through the process. Some quicker than others, some longer than others, whatever.
Mhm.
But I mean, we all get to that point. And we all individually, we all die alone.
Yep.
I mean, let's face it, we're all individual. We die alone. When we die, it's just us.
Yep.
Just me, just you. And I think that's the part that I think that's the frightening part that most people fear the most, is dying alone. The fact that you're going to be by yourself.
Yeah, there's that aspect of it, but I honestly believe that for a lot of people also, it's the uncertainty of what to expect. I mean,
Well,
in today's,
that's it.
what's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was
That's
just
it though. That's the
Yeah.
uncertainty of it.
Yeah, and that's a big factor, only because in today's world, especially in first world nations like Canada, the US, and other first world nations, religion doesn't have as much of a stronghold as it once did on all the population.
No.
Right? So people now, like myself, I'm not religious, for example, and Steve, I know you're not really religious yourself either. But for those who truly are religious and truly do believe in an afterlife, for them it's okay. Yeah, I'm going to be reunited with my loved ones, and they have that to comfort them. But for people who aren't religious but aren't atheists either, which is where I would fit in, it's sort of like in that in between phase. Then it's the more fear of the unknown of what's going to happen when we die. Is there going to be, is there actually going to be a heaven and hell, and which way am I going to go? You know what I mean? Or, what is it going to be?
I think was a part of the healing for me anyways, and understanding things. I stopped thinking of the heaven and hell bullshit that's fed to us, that's fed to us on a daily basis when we're kids, and we grow up to think that there's a heaven above and a hell below. How I look at it now, Alex, is I look at me, I look at you, and say, look, you have an energy within you. You are energy. And that energy is infinite. It never dies. It transforms into another area. It moves on. This here
Yeah.
is a physical vessel. This is what dies. This is what rots and goes to the earth and worms and whatever else you want to look at it, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You can say the same about beauty. Look at beauty is only skin deep, right?
Mhm.
Well, I think life is only skin deep too.
It's only
And
meat deep.
sorry,
It's only meat deep.
exactly, meat deep. Now, my thought process is that we do live on.
Mm.
And how that is, obviously, we don't know, but I like to think, and the way I think is it's simply our energy transforms into the universe or whatever, however, wherever it goes to.
Yep.
I wholeheartedly believe that. And I think that, it's so archaic, and I understand people find comfort in believing what religious sort of avenues teach you, and I understand that it gives you a source of comfort. I understand that, but I think that people really need to realize that that comfort is only extends so far,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and
No, I don't disagree with you. It's just for like I said, for me, it's still it's only an issue of contention because I haven't arrived at that same conclusion that you have yet, and I may very well arrive at that. Not and I we've discussed this many times in the past as far as what happens when we die and our energy goes on, and I believe that there is some form of continuation, or at least I'm leaning towards that belief that there's some form of continuation, but I guess the question is who I am and who you are, does that continue forward? I know our energy will never cease to exist. It'll just go from this form to another. But where is the consciousness part? You know
and
what I mean?
that's the beauty of it, Alex. The way I think about it, and I should say that's the beauty of it. I don't think the consciousness continues. Um, I believe that I don't want to say we're reset,
Mm,
um, but we are placed. I don't know. It's so tough to think about this.
yeah.
When we look at human life, the human experience, if you will, and you think about all these experiences that people come up with and have talked about, reincarnation and this, and look at I'm talking in a certain language and I've never been taught that language before, but all of a sudden I knew what it was. I don't know why. Or there's so many different fascinating stories out there to sort of give you an idea of what might happen with that human experience after death.
Hmm.
And I mean, we all like the idea that we live on in some way or fashion after death. It's a romantic sort of idea, but I kind of think that we, like birth, we end collectively. We become a part of a collection. We become a part of something called the universe, if you will. And am I reincarnated here back on Earth in some form or fashion? I don't know. Am I somewhere else in the universe? I don't know. And these are the questions that we will constantly ask
Hmm.
until we know the answer. And the only way we're ever going to know the answer is when we die, right? So I look at that as sort of a bonus and say, look at when I die, the answers reveal themselves, right? If we die, the physical part of us, that's it. but the energy part of us moves on. It transfers into something else. That's the way I look at it. Um, I know there's a lot of people that go, no, when you die, that's it. It's over.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, there's plenty of
And,
people like that. Yeah.
huh?
There's plenty of people like that.
Yeah, and I mean, people are content to think that way. And I look at that's the way you think. That's the way you think. I look at the more power to you. But I don't think that way. I think we truly move on in some form or fashion. Absolutely. I really do.
And that's part of my goal, is to try to figure that out for myself.
Yeah.
I know I've said this ad nauseum in the past, but that's basically what my goal in the paranormal is all about, is to not to prove to others that the paranormal is real, because I really don't give a shit about that, to be perfectly honest with you. It's more to prove to myself that this is there's some form of continuation, whether it be what Steve just said, which is a big possibility, or whether it be a consciousness continuation as well, beyond this physical death, which is kind of like what religion says, but not quite, because they're forcing the narrative that there's a God and there's a heaven and hell, and you either go to one or the other.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily believe that, but do we continue on as a consciousness? Because if we go to a paranormal investigation and we get some kind of feedback, whether it be on EVP or video or anything, what are we getting then? If our consciousness doesn't continue, what are we getting? If we're getting a response of some deceased person that used to live at that location, let's say, and you can validate that for if you can, then what does that mean?
That's a huge question.
Right,
obviously.
exactly,
And,
right.
And, it's, and this is where the theories fly, obviously. When you look at EVP audio, we're talking right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Us talking right now, is that it? Is it over?
What do you mean? No, I mean,
What we're saying, we're expending energy.
Yes.
We're imprinting cyberspace, if you will. We're imprinting in the universe. So it's there. It continuously goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these EVPs, how do we know we're not tapping into that sort of archive, if you will? We figured out a way to tap into that archive and listen to a person, who used to live at that location, and they had a daily routine, and their imprint is embedded in that area, and we've patched into it. How do we know that's not what it is?
And for the most part, you're probably right in a lot of cases, but there have been instances of, and I hate to use the term, but intelligent sort of responses.
I'd love to say intelligent, but do we really know they're intelligent?
Well, okay. That's why I say I hate to use that term, but for lack of a better term at the moment, let's just go with that assumption. If you're asking a question and you get a direct response to that question, then that's something else.
I mean, you know what? I'll be honest. It's extremely rare.
Yeah. I know it is.
Extremely rare that you get something like that. And
do we even know if we're dealing with a deceased individual or something else entirely?
Exactly.
Right.
That's when you ask a question, more pop up. And that's the thing with EVPs. There's a wealth of theories as to what they could possibly be. And obviously, you're going to have people who are trying to be, down to earth and explain them. Well, they're radio waves, or stray radio waves, or cell phone signals, or whatever. Okay, no. No. Depending on how the person is capturing these EVPs or whatever else.
Yeah.
If you have a controlled environment, that's literally impossible.
How do you control that environment is the question, I guess.
Faraday cage.
That's what I was thinking.
You know, Faraday cage.
You try to do an EVP session inside a Faraday cage.
Yep. And plenty have done it, and plenty have succeeded.
Yep.
You know.
So now regression. Let's go to regression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you know I've been through a past life regression.
Okay.
Right. So what does that mean if you were to look at it, not just from my example, but if you were to look at past life regression in general, what do you think that stems from?
Well, like I said, you know, when we die, what I'm thinking is we become a part of a collective.
Mm-hmm.
We become a part of that one. We become a part of the universe. Because let's face it, we came from one. We came from a single entity, if you will. When you look at how things have progressed, we all came from. When you look at the DNA, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
of pretty much anything on this earth, and you look and you compare it, there's always that one piece of DNA that is across the board that can only make you think, okay, how am I related to this piece of seaweed that's been fucking, you know,
Rotting in the sun.
been there for millions of years? You know, how? It makes you wonder, okay, so what is going on? And that's the question. You know? So
Yep.
if we all come from one thing and we all return back to one thing, I mean, you know, we look at birth, death are sort of singular
Mm-hmm.
in a way. Our physical sort of experience, our human experience is physical for the most part. I mean, when you think about everything that you deal with on a daily basis, most people will think physically. Everything is physical.
Yep.
Everything you deal with is physical for the most part. But obviously there are the non-physical aspects that play in. Those are the ones that you're like, what the fuck? What just happened? Right?
Not to mention that your personality is shaped, which is your personality is non-physical, but your personality is shaped by the experiences that you have gone through in the physical world, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I know it's all tied together. It is, and I deep down inside, I know that too. My biggest thing has always been, and I've always been of the mindset that I need hard evidence in order for me to wholeheartedly believe something like this.
We all want that hard evidence.
Well, not all people do. Some people are willing to put their blind faith into some things, and that's fine. That's for them.
I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know. But you know what? I have to accept the fact that I can't control that.
Oh, I know. But
Right?
that's the goal, I guess, for lack of a better term, from my perspective of being involved in this field, is to try. Right? Yeah, I was going to say industry, but it's not quite an industry. No. In this field, is to try to sort of get that, or at least the hard evidence that I would deem necessary for me to believe.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I mean, I look at, like I said, a good friend of mine passed away early on in life. And I sat there and went, oh, why? It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. Yep. It was so fucking preventable. It didn't have to happen. And I sat there and went, I need to understand this. I need to understand what's going on. I need to understand, you know, is a person still there after they die in some way, or where, you know, some way. I don't know. I need to understand. And it bothered me for years until I said, look at, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this. And this is, I've been doing it ever since. And, you know, most people, and this is what drives me nuts about the paranormal as a whole. They don't even have that frame of mind, Alex.
No, I know.
It's
know.
not about wanting to know what is going on after life.
Yeah, it's all about fame, really.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's all about being a part of something that's cool.
That too, right? But
You
I
know?
mean, everybody wants to be the first to be able to say, I can prove definitively that the paranormal exists. So that aspect of it, is also a big factor as well for a lot of people. I can't say that it's for everybody, but I mean, if people were honest, and the unfortunate part is that most people aren't really honest, at least not to themselves anyway. You can ask them, why are you really doing this? And most people will probably say, oh, because I want to know if whatever. But at the end of the day, the way they do it, the way they go about doing it, isn't indicative of their response. You know what I mean? Because if you really truly wanted to learn or find out, kind of like what you and I are doing it for, then you'd be at it. You're not going to display it for the world. In other words, you're doing it for yourself primarily.
Yeah.
We may discuss it on the show here, definitely, because we're doing the show. We got to do the show, right? But for me, if I were to go out and do an EVP session, and I happen to, for some miracle here, capture an EVP of my late father, you know what I mean?
See, that would be a gold mine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would give you some sort of
validation.
Well, I don't know. Would it give you validation or a sense of comfort and peace?
Well, both. Like it will give me validation and comfort and peace as well, because if I'm able to, actually communicate in some way or form with my parents, because both my parents are deceased now, but if I were to communicate with either of them through EVP or some other method, then it's validation, and it's also the comfort aspect in knowing that, hey, okay, so this kind of proves to me that there is some form of continuation in not just in energy form, but also in the consciousness aspect as well. Because at the end of the day, although sometimes I feel like saying, you know what, this place is so fucked up that I wish I was just gone.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I also am of the mindset that I don't necessarily want to die, because there's far too many things that I still want to experience that I know I won't be able to experience in one lifetime because of one reason or another.
It's funny, and let me, I'll make a point there. When I was going through my depression, my anxiety, my dark period, I wasn't thinking of suicide or anything like that. I want to make that clear. But one thing that helped me a lot through this, and to this day, unfortunately, I haven't had much time because there's been, COVID sort of made it kind of shitty. But I would trail run, I would trail hike, and I would find these desolate trails. And I found that walking or running these trails, I would think, and it would amaze me the thoughts that would come out, the sense of peace that I'd have, and the creativity that would sort of burst out, during this time was just phenomenal. It just killed any negativity. Most people go, "Oh, you're fucking talking to yourself." Fuck you. I don't care. There's a reason why I'm talking to myself. You know why? Because I am thinking creativity.
Yeah.
You know, creatively. Sorry.
Creatively, yeah, that's right.
You know. You know. Okay, so we're gonna end this soon on New Visions. Are we gonna go a little bit longer?
We can go a couple minutes more.
What's a couple minutes
I
more?
don't know, 5-10 minutes.
uh,
Unfortunately, I have to work tomorrow.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You know, so there, yeah, you know, people. There's an outlet to sort of to discover and not control, but to understand the situation you might be going through.
Yep.
It's just a matter of finding it,
Yeah.
finding what works for you.
Yeah,
You know,
you're right.
Alex, it was big fat burrito, but
It was, yeah, and then it got taken away from me.
oh no, it's all over.
Uh,
No, so are they back?
You know, for all intent and purpose, I think they are. I mean, I remember reading. I was reading like I think it was like a blog post where the workers of the original Big Fat Burrito Kensington Market, when they found out it was closing, that they were going to do whatever they can to sort of open up another location in Kensington Market. So there is apparently another location in the same area, just not in the same building, called Big Fat Burrito. But I'm hoping it's, you know, the same quality. But
Dude, yeah,
we're gonna have to try it.
We got to try it. We got to check it out.
Yeah, we definitely got to check it out.
Of course, it's kind of hard right now, but
Yeah, yeah, of course. But you know, as soon as we can, we should go and check it out and get a burrito and see.
oh, yeah, I'm all for it, man. Big
Yeah.
fat burrito, you can't beat it.
That's right, and that's heavenly.
And we got to say, look it. This time when we walk in there, would you please be a sponsor of the show?
Yeah, exactly. We've been giving you free advertisement.
We've been giving you free advertising from day one, man. No, hey, look it.
Free advertisements.
Oh, speaking of the devil, look at that shirt. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to my friend Bebo and Chris over at Third Moon, and the guys over at Wood Brothers Brewing in Ottawa. Cool shirt. Take it to the grave. Speak of the devil. Yeah. Unfortunately, your physical self goes to the grave.
Yeah. And I'm sporting.
Oh yeah.
Our
See,
sweater.
I still have to get a hoodie.
Yeah.
What
nice.
do we you know, talk about what we have left on the
So we still have the t-shirts still. Not the double-sided t-shirt. We only have the t-shirt with the logo. We have the mask.
Yeah.
We have the neck gaiter. We have the pullover sweater, like this, the hoodie, pullover's hoodie, and we have the zip-up hoodie as well. And that can all be that's on our Teespring store. So just go to.
So, do we need a new item? Like, I mean,
Maybe.
we have to let people know that this anything that's made from Teespring, the shop goes back into the show.
That's right.
You know, so I mean, if you buy a T-shirt, if you buy a hoodie, a mask, whatever, it pays for a month, like almost a month,
Yeah.
depending on what you grab. It pays for us. You know, it supports us for a month or two or three or whatever. You know, so we're absolutely thankful to those who have already grabbed something in the past.
Yep.
And supported the show. We absolutely thank you from the bottom of our hearts, as shallow as they are. But
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, please grab a T-shirt. They're cool. I fucking love the logo. Jeff did an amazing job with the logo.
Yeah. And even the sweaters, they're good quality.
Yeah. I got to see if we can get well, we were talking about getting a one-off. We got to make a one-off t-shirt.
I think so. Yeah.
A one-off t-shirt for the listeners. And you know what? Guys, if you have any ideas what you'd like to see on a t-shirt,
Yeah. Let's do a contest. Like
come
submissions.
come up with an idea and we'll see what we can do and we'll get a one-off t-shirt made.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe we should do like an actual contest, like a submission, like submit
Yeah.
a logo of our show or a saying or anything. I know,
I
Ron.
mean, even if
me
it's a
saying nothing is not part of the deal.
Say what?
I said submission of like a comment or something like this, and I said to Ron, I go, no, me saying nothing is not part of the deal.
Well, no, I don't know, man. We're gonna get like a likeness of Alex on the back of the shirt saying nothing.
Steve in the background saying, "What's new?" and me saying nothing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. But submit anything to email us nocturnalfrequencyradio@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on our Facebook group.
Yep.
We're always looking for something new. We can see if we can have it made up, or even a nocturnal frequency glass.
I gotta check to see if they even have that. I know they have the
No,
mugs.
but
yeah,
we can figure it out.
the mug. I forgot the mug.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The glass has a picture of you holding a big fat burrito.
There you go. There you go. That'll work. But yeah, I forgot to mention that we also have a mug with our logo and the saying and the quote.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, let's sign off on New Visions.
Yep.
If you're listening to the radio portion on New Visions, thank you for tuning in tonight. We are going to go a little bit longer on our YouTube channel. So if you would like to join us over there, please pop on over to the live simulcast on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/user/nocturnal frequency 1. Or just simply type in Nocturnal Frequency Radio and you'll find us. All right. And subscribe so you'll get the updates and everything else as to the new shows coming up and all that fun stuff. Thank you for tuning in to this week's show on New Visions. We'll see you next we'll see you next Sunday night. Take care, everyone.
Have a good night.
Okay, so I mean, if you got an idea, please let us know.
Yeah.
But I was kind of disappointed because I posted I posted a thread on the Facebook group asking people how they are watching or viewing the show.
Yep.
Not one person answered.
I know. Pretty sad.
You seen that?
Yep.
Are you listening to us on New Visions? Are you watching us on YouTube? Is there some other format out there that you're listening to us? We would love to hear how you are interacting with us, during the live portion. Maybe New Visions or YouTube, or I don't know what else. What other possibilities are there?
Well, I mean, there are other possibilities, but unfortunately, I can only stream to one service at a time. So,
no, I mean, like, how are other people listening to us?
they could listen to the archive, I guess, on YouTube, or they can. We don't have the means to do it through a podcast. We should look into that, but.
Yeah, but they listen. They can listen to the archived the replays during the week on New Visions as well.
They could do that as well, yeah. Or they can just obviously on YouTube they can watch, the show whenever they want, really.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And I mentioned this to you earlier, but yeah, Marcy says I watch you on YouTube. We kind of we know that. We know that you do. But no, I was going to say that one of our most watched live shows, not the because I know Steve's been uploading slowly the archives from back from the Block Talk days. But one of our most viewed live shows was the one where we had the title, the word porn in the title, which is kind of sad if you think about it, because we had
Putting the porn back into the paranormal.
That's it. Putting the porn back into the paranormal had the most views out of all of our live shows, which is kind of sad. But whatever.
But it goes to show you it's all in the title, right?
Oh, I know.
And it has to be controversial because let me tell you, you can think of the best title and people go, so.
Yep.
Once you put something controversial out there like porn, oh my God, porn?
It piques people's interest.
Of course.
Yeah.
Especially the YouTube security there.
Oh yeah, the algorithm.
The algorithm.
It comes
Porn?
after you.
What? They're showing porn? No, you can't do that.
That's not allowed.
Yes, we are. Look at bald heads.
That's
Porno.
right.
Porno. Look at that bald head right down there. See that bald head right down there?
These aren't heads, they're giant penises.
Oh God, here we go. Have another 40 Creek.
Yeah, I'm done for the night.
You're done for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it, buddy.
Yeah, I think so too.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course here watching us on YouTube. Interesting conversation. Of course, we can only leave it open, obviously, because we don't know the answers. None of us know the answers. We can only speculate and theorize as to what happens after death.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to keep it open and positive and say, look we are built up of energy, and that energy never dies. It's infinite, and it goes on. It translates into something else, and that's what I think I'd like to know.
Yep.
But until next Sunday night, Alex.
Yep.
And everybody, take care, and thank you for tuning in.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Take care.